Jeffrey leaves hateful comments online. He doesn't realize that he's speaking to a real person.
This guy's stupid. His advice is stupid. That doesn't work. Meditation doesn't even do anything.
He goes from video to video leaving troll comments. He doesn't realize that not only is he spreading negativity, he actually makes himself feel worse. When you say hateful, negative things, your brain has to process those same feelings for yourself. Don't be like Jeffrey. I was a little shit. When I first got onto YouTube about 10 years ago, I was that one f***ing kid who was just leaving pure hate. Like, I was clever, right? I wasn't doing the basic level hate. I would sit down and take some time to emphasize with the creator of the video, to think about what their insecurities were so I could point that out in the comments. Like, I was down bad. I realize now, looking back to that point, that was just a reflection of how I felt about myself, that I hated myself, that I felt so negative and so hostile. And I look back in shame, but at the time, there was definitely like a level of cognitive dissonance. For a lot of viewers, you kind of don't realize that this is literally like a person in front of you. You may know Hamza or PewDiePie or Derek, the YouTubers, but oftentimes you kind of forget that they have a life and a personality and insecurities and trauma outside of the video that you see them on. Adonis spreads joy just like I spread chlamydia in university. He lifts up his brothers, for he knows that the tribe will become stronger. Adonis shares his gift of love to his neighbors, but he still knows the value in critical feedback. In an effort to improve myself and induce humility and also destroy my ego, on my second channel, I asked people to leave hateful comments about me. I instructed the viewers to pretend that they hated me and to write any kind of critical shit that they could say about me so that I can read through it and I can hopefully try and improve myself. It was painful. I didn't cry, but like I did feel close to crying reading these comments. And this is something that it hit me with a realization that I've known for a while, that when we read hateful things online, whether we have an argument or you're a creator who actually gets a fair amount of comments, it feels like real life. Our brain hasn't evolved that fast alongside technology to know the difference between us reading a comment from some XX Dragon Slayer 93 compared to just real life. So when you have just a couple of people just disagreeing with you, your place in the social hierarchy really starts to feel fragile in your brain. When you have people openly insulting you and being critical of you, I truly believe you get put in the fight or flight response, and this is why you see so many creators and celebrities break down. And I know that this is oftentimes so looked over and it's kind of funny when, you know, a celebrity has a mental breakdown, but like, we are truly realizing the importance of mental health, and we're realizing the consequences of one person having hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people looking to them in their actions. And every single comment just feels like a hits your ego, and that hurts. I'll link the video on my second channel where you can read all the comments yourself, but as I was reading them, I found that at first it hurt, and afterwards I became aggressive and resentful, and I could truly become so aware. This was such an interesting experiment. I became so aware of like my Jeffrey brain, my ego, counter criticizing every comment and saying that they were wrong. Every single comment that I was reading, instantly I was thinking of a nice excuse that they were wrong, I was right. It took me a while to get out of this, and there was a certain question that I asked myself that I think is so valuable that I think you should start asking yourself too. What if I'm wrong? With this new lens of actually asking myself, what if I'm the one who's wrong? What if the first thought in my brain, the response to this comment, is wrong? What if they are right? What if I just think that they are telling the truth right now? It took me a while to actually open up my brain to be that like humble. And there's a few realizations I had specifically about the comments, like the feedback that I was getting for my videos and for myself. The most common point that was brought up was that the videos of this main channel aren't the same like they used to be. We're doing shorter, edited, spurgy videos, and a lot of people didn't like that. And in my mind, I was questioning the validity of these comments, because you can see the growth of the channel. We're clearly doing something right if we're growing this fast. We're clearly doing something right if we're getting even a bigger audience. But I had to spend some time emphasizing with the people who have been here from the start, and they're used to watching me just being unfiltered and just ranting in detail about some things. And of course, maybe those unfiltered, unstructured, unedited rants provide more value to the singular person who watches it compared to the highly edited videos that attract more people but serve less value per video. And it's a very overwhelming decision to make, but I do think that we're doing the right thing here. And that's why I've started the second channel, Hamza Unfiltered, which I highly recommend if you prefer like my older style videos where I just rant and I just like talk about some random thing in detail, unedited, unscripted. Then I'll link that below, because I wanted to add the best of both. These short, edited, spurgy videos are for the guys who currently aren't really on self-improvement. I had an insight, like a vision once, and I thought, okay, I want to get more men onto self-improvement. I am not the self-improvement master. You don't come to my channel to learn in-depth science about like the science of habits or anything. You go to James Clear for that. I am the guy who can bring new guys onto self-improvement, but I'm not the one who's so advanced, because you should be going specifically to the guys who are advanced. It's like a funnel. You get introduced to going to the gym and building your Your Dream Body by me. But then you go to the professionals who have like 15 years of research, who don't just give you fucking bro science, and you learn like, you know, the most optimal way to grow your muscles from them. And so I love the structure of the channels, where this main channel is like an introduction to self-improvement, and that's why we're making it so spurgy. Because think about it, who needs self-improvement the most? It's the guys who are watching TikTok. It's literally the guys who only watch TikTok, like, you know, YouTube shorts. Their attention span is so fried, they need self-improvement the most. That's why we have these like edited short videos, because it emulates the type of content that most young men are watching, and it's those men who need self-improvement the most. But I did want to take on board this feedback, and so I have made this main channel videos way more unscripted, and I'm just ranting more like I used to, and I'm actually enjoying the process so much more now that I don't have to just like read, Adonis does this. Like, I hate having to read line by line, bro. It ruins the fun of YouTube. I just want to talk to the camera like you're my boy, instead of like being a fucking zombie. If you scroll down this main channel to some older videos, you can literally tell that I'm reading word for word, and I'm like struggling to do so, like not blinking, not to...
There is an important question.
But I think the biggest critical, hateful comment that I needed humility and a sense of humbleness for was the fact that I'm giving advice to get the viewer to where I am. And that's not good enough. I'm still relatively new in my self-improvement journey. Like, I know more who have been doing this for like 10 years. I've been on self-improvement full time for like 2 years now, 1.5 years. And of course I've been lifting weights way before that, but I started lifting weights and I didn't do anything else productive for a long time. I wanted to take a step back and giving advice on like my situation in life, and instead specifically give advice on how you get closer to Adonis, because that's the ideal place anyway. There was a final comment that just kept on coming up, which I still disagree with to this day, and maybe you can comment below and tell me if I'm right or wrong with this. But a fair amount of people said that I'm giving quite inconsistent advice, that I change my opinion somewhat often. So the comment always was like, oh, but in the last 6 months you've changed your mind about this thing. And honestly, to that, I kind of feel like the guys who've said that aren't really on self-improvement, because if you're on self-improvement, if you're actually like on this shit, your opinions have to be changing. As you learn new things, your opinions change, your personality changes, your advice changes. If you expect me to always give the same advice, then we're not on self-improvement. The idea is that here is my advice, here's my opinion right now, but then I go and read a book that challenges this, and I'm like, oh yeah, this idea is really, really good. So then here's my advice, here's my opinion right now. It's going to be constantly changing. Now that might seem quite inconsistent and maybe somewhat scary to think, wait, should I be following this guy then? But the thing is, to be following the opinions and the advice of someone who's on self-improvement, who's reading these books, is a lot better than just not improving at all. So of course I might give you a piece of advice right now that we might later on disagree with in like 6 months as we learn new research. But that really is the process of science in the first place. A scientist creates a hypothesis of something that they believe might be true. They go and research, they write their paper, and then 6 months later some other scientist disagrees with them. And now we all listen to the second scientist. Then a year later there's a meta-analysis that compares 20 different papers, and now we listen to this meta-analysis. We should constantly be changing our opinions as we're learning more. But maybe I'm wrong with that too, I don't know. I don't have all the answers, bro. I'm just a dumbass with a camera. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Oh, and by the way, if there's any creators watching this, don't do this experiment, because it f***ing hurts reading that many hateful comments. Mwah.